Welcome to Deep Thought. You would look different in a parallel universe. Now, you know my main thing on here is just to get you to think about something. Because you know how they had these on these science fiction flicks and everything, or TV shows. Well, except in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where, you know, parallel versions of Spider-Man all look different from each other. But you know, the general thing is, like, they'll have a guy who, you know, like, okay, like the stud guy, the hunk guy, you know, he got that square jaw, muscular, everything, super smart. And then they'll show a parallel version of him who will look exactly the same. And, you know, that's cool because, well, you know, it's acting. But the reality is they will look different. A person would look different in a parallel universe. I want you to think about why. You know, when we go through the sum total of our lives isn't just genetics, even though, you know, I've talked about it, of course, but circumstances, what's happened in life. I'll give you an example. Like, you know, I'm always promoting body game, right? Always promoting body game. And I told you, I really got into body game because in the early 90s, I was working out for a job. It was actually a job with a federal law enforcement agency. I didn't get that, mainly because I passed all the tests, but there was a hiring freeze, and I'll leave it at that. Ended up doing something else I can't talk about. Anyway, but that's what really got me to working out. But what if I didn't take that path? What if I didn't take that particular path where I probably wouldn't have worked out as hard or, you know, start running, you know, because part of the thing I had to do was I had to be able to run 2 miles in under 15 minutes or under 16. I don't know. I had to run it in a certain time. I think it was under 16. And at the, you know, but what if I didn't have that? What if I didn't go for that job? What if I went for something else where I probably wouldn't have been able to work out as much? I would probably look different now. You know, I would look different. Or here's another thing, another parallel universe, because one thing that put on a lot of weight for me, even before I started working out, this actually put on weight because I was living at my grandmother's and she had purchased like a year's worth of beef and stuff because we had a freezer. And I was popping them like they were snacks. That actually put on weight on me. So I was just like, but what if she didn't buy that? You know? Or what if we go back even further and for whatever reason, you know, when the court sent me to live with me and my sister to live with my grandmother, what if they sent us another direction? You know, it's so much. Or what if we go back even further and let's say my mother and father didn't divorce. And where would I be? One thing I know, I'll just say, I don't ever discuss my particular politics other than I'm independent, but it would probably be very different now. See, understand something. Not only is it different circumstances, but how you would look physically. Like parallel versions of myself, okay, y'all see me now and, you know, be lifting and everything, be looking swole, brolic and all of that. But then what if I'm in another place, another universe where I didn't get into it at all, but also didn't have good nutrition? Or then what if, in yet another one, the circumstances that got me into sports, what if I didn't play sports? Or what if I had never touched a weight, period? Or what if I'm in a place where wasn't financially well off, couldn't eat as well? You start looking different because, you know, would have different haircuts. You know, what if I wasn't in a position where I could keep my teeth good? You know, seriously, because that's one thing I was blessed with, always straight teeth. But what if I wasn't? You know, because of the circumstances. You know, what if how would I look if I was in a universe where I was using drugs? I would look different from this. Because circumstances, how we look, is actually formed. Part of it is genetic, but part of it is also culture. It's where you're growing up, where you live. You know, what's the eating habits? What if there's a parallel universe where instead of vegans being 6% of the population, they were 86% of the population. First of all, that would be an interesting place because the meat industries, anything dealing with like any meats, actually just meat industries, maybe even the chicken industry, people wouldn't have eggs as much. Technically, vegans don't eat eggs, technically. You know, everybody would look different, you know, the physicality. Well, if we take it back even further and let's just say, what if, you know, Black's prisoner of war period didn't happen? Or even further, you know, the Europeans just stayed home. You know, they didn't go out and explore. You know, what if there was a place where the Black Death didn't happen, which many could argue contributed to expansionism and survival? People would look different, you know. Depends on where, you know, depends on what's going on in that particular universe. What if somebody, you know, for whatever reason caught some type of disease or took some actions and they got cancer, some type of cancer? Think about it. It's always something, different circumstances, different jobs. And it's amazing. I thought about that, just like, you know, I always talk about body game, but I said, you know, if I didn't go in that one direction, I made a choice to go someplace else, I probably would have been working 80 hours a week or something. Probably wouldn't have time to work out, because that's one thing about me. I got that part that's anal. I really get into stuff, you know, especially what I probably would have done. It would have been a different circumstance, you know. What if, you know, different relationships, you know, people can actually change you can actually look at somebody and tell if they in a relationship. You can tell because they'll look different. Like a young lady I'm familiar with, I know she's in a happy, when you see her at first, you know, totally thin and everything, you know, almost emaciated. But she's been in a relationship with this guy and she's happy. I'm noticing, well, say, wait a minute, you're getting those curves, like good curves. But I'm like, because that's one thing, especially with women, you can tell, more so with women, not as much with men, but you can kind of tell where somebody is just by looking at their physicality. You know, and that's another thing. Different universes, people might be taking care of themselves different. One universe, someone could be like, they totally fix up. They let the barber bless them like 3 days, every 3 days, got all the fly clothes, working out and everything. But because of circumstances in another universe, they don't even bother getting a haircut. They might be homeless or something and they're wearing bummy clothes. You know, they got skin issues because they don't wash enough. Because it would be different circumstances. Now, you'll say, Rom, what's the purpose of that? The purpose of everything on this channel is just to get you to think. Just think about it. Just think. See, one of the things, I will say this is the basic purpose on this channel, is just to get you to think. Stimulate your brain. Because think about that. Think about, look, here's the thing. Think about how something could have changed at different points in your life. You know, some instance change the perspective and everything. I'll use myself again. I'm actually way more patient than I was before my sons were born. Because any parent tell you, any parent will tell you, you have to be patient. They will test it. They will test it. If you have it beforehand, you will get it. Or at least develop some patience. But what if it was a different circumstance? What if the circumstances to even meet their mother had been different? You know, it's so many things. It's so many things because you got different circumstances. See, it's just like putting a fish in. I don't care what the genetic makeup of a fish is. You put it into a water it's not familiar with. It's going to change. It's either going to adapt or die. You know, so there's so many things that affect us. So many outside forces that affect us, you know? So something to think about, all right? So anyway, I'll get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.